A few moments. Okay, good. We're showing up everywhere. All right, everybody. Welcome, everyone. It's great to see you. Today is another great episode with Build With Me. We have a special guest star in the house. But before we begin, we're going to make sure that you know what's going to happen in this episode. We're going to be talking about how you can become a full-time creator. So let's begin. Again, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. Remember, let us know where you're watching this from. If you're in the UK, Australia, if you're parts of the United States, just let us know where you're watching from. And again, we have a special guest starring appearance today. Yes, we have someone very special here. And we'd like to introduce Mike. Mike, how are we doing today?
Hey, Doc. Thank you for having me. You've got all the tricks there. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. I actually got the first shot for COVID 2 days ago. So now getting better.
Good. I'm glad you're getting the first shot. I'm glad that you're feeling better for sure. So, as people are coming in and asking questions, oh man, people are already coming in with this. Hey, Keisha, thank you so much for being here. It's great to see you in the audience. And remember, in the comments section down below, let us know what you're working on as well. That's really good. So thank you for being here, Keisha, and being in attendance. Let us know what you're working on. So what we're gonna do is, I want to hear, Mike. Tell the good people a little bit about yourself, what you do, and this would be awesome. And of course, some in the audience might have more questions for you, but I would love to know more about you and what you do.
Of course, feel free to ask any questions. So for me, like what I do, so I run mainly SaaS products. I have about 8 of them now. Actually 9, because I've just launched another one. And 5 of those are profitable. And I bring them to market and I build them without a CS degree. So I'm actually a jazz musician by trade. That's what I studied, and my background is in jazz music. And I also do that without a team and without any investment. So I bootstrap, like purely. So I don't take any external investments, but also internal investments, meaning I don't put any money into the business.
That's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. So, and this is awesome to talk with you, because a lot of people, especially in our audience, they feel like they need to go to VC investment. They have to do all these things, and you're running all of these. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, you're running all of them by yourself at this time?
Yes, exactly. I make about, as I said, 5 of the SaaS are profitable. I also run a consulting business, and I also run a course that I sell, and I also run a productized service, all by myself as well. But the 5 SaaS that are profitable are making, around 100,000 a year right now. So that's around 8K MRR.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's total. So out of the 5, so total. Each one is like 2K, something like that?
No, actually, you can go to brain.rubini.solutions because I build in the open. So I'm big in transparency, and I share all the numbers and all the app with everything. So you can actually click on check out more data there as well. It will go to the thing. It's a platform that I built essentially for this, so to share all my numbers and all that I do. And actually will tell you, so the SaaS alone, it's like 8,034 MRR. And then if you go down, you will actually see the details. So each one, there you go. Here are the 5 that are making money. And so I mean, the one that is bringing the most is Grouply at about $4,600 per month. and then we have, I think, Trendly, and then all the others.
That's
Yes.
awesome. I love this. I love this. This is great, especially
Yeah.
for ones that are thinking about doing this. I love how transparent you are. And I think this will help
Yes.
a lot of people. Oh, man.
It's a double-edged sword, I think, because like I have people trying to copy me like one day and the other. But I do like to share because first of all, like my real customers, like my real investors are my customers. So I want to share like what I do with them. But also I want to inspire other people. And you know what we do is it can feel like magic, right? Sometimes because you go from not having anything, like a thing that is not there, to having a thing. So it can feel like magic sometimes. And so like you want to also it's good to also show that it takes hard work to do this. So you know that's all the reasons why I do it. But actually, if you go up, you will see average task per day. A little bit down, please. Yeah, like there you will see average task per day. If you go view all, you will see all the tasks that I do day by day. Yeah, so for example, today it's just downgrade customer. But if you go, for example, yesterday, you'll see other tasks that I did. Yeah, so you can see day by day what I do. I mean, what I complete, not what I do, because sometimes a task takes hours. But yeah.
Wow. This is really good. Well, this is this is really transparent. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I've seen I usually see like normally how much you're making. I honestly I don't think I've ever seen someone show the tasks and have it right there on average. That's pretty
also
crazy.
like different projects. And so if you go on the right, like what's Mike working on, you'll see everything that I'm working on currently on the different projects. And yeah, it helps also with prioritization because obviously I'm working on different stuff, so I can work on like I could choose to work from like 50 tasks to do, so I have to prioritize. But yeah, it helps me as well. That's also why I do it.
That's great.
And then also like there's a private section with forecasting and all of that, and also there's a section for my health, so I also keep track of that in here.
Wow.
And then, yeah, and you also have the next payouts and all of that. Yeah, I don't see anyone doing this, but yeah, it's great.
I love it. I love it. Now, what's pretty interesting as well, and Keisha was wondering about this, and there's a couple that I want to ask you. Now, do you have any aspirations to actually get funding, or do you just want to bootstrap it so you can have full control? What's your goal?
So I don't like having bosses, so I don't like having investors. That's the answer there. So yeah, I don't plan to get funding, and I mean not that I hate funding. It's good, but you know there are other forms of funding that I think are better right nowadays. So for example, you have Pipe, for example. Although it's like the layer, like the barrier of entry there is too high right now, but I think with time, it will come down. And so there are, if you don't know, Pipe is like trying to, it's pipe.com is the site. They are basically trying to have MRR as an asset class. So they are like how it works. You can sell them your contracts, like your monthly contracts with customers, and they will give you like 10 months or 11 months upfront. So it's like you can transform your MRR into ARR, and so that helps with cash flow. I'm not doing this, but I like the idea because right now it's only available for, I think, businesses doing 100K a month, stuff like that. But I think it will come down. But as funding, I don't like the idea because it's also very very accessible, in a way, because like people, the first thing they do is, as you said, is like go get funding, which is, if you are building robots, okay, but for what I do, you can go pretty far by yourself, I think. And then the other thing is that the funding is is celebrated a lot, and I think that's hilarious, because like you are celebrating that, and then people say you're just, it's good that, bad that, whatever. I think all that is that, so all that is bad in a way, and I don't like being in that with other people, and yeah, that's why also I don't do. And the other thing is, bootstrap business are celebrated far less than like this person is racing around. Like all the news are about that. There's no news of this person is actually bootstrapping and well. You know what I
Very
mean?
true. Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even, you see when people are getting acquired, you see when people are raising a certain amount, they don't celebrate bootstrap like I've hit this MMR, that you don't see that
Nobody
in the
talks
news.
about that. Yeah.
And this is why this is why I reached out, because number one, actually I'm a subscriber for Trendly, and I think it's awesome. And it's just, there's so many layers, and I'll talk about why I love it so much in a little bit. But I wanted to talk to you because I wanted to reverse engineer for a moment with ones that are starting that first SaaS product, or that first, they want to go into SaaS. Can we first talk about what you needed to learn? Because you said you didn't go to school for this, right?
No, I didn't. No, so I'm a big proponent of learning how to code. Like I'm a yes code guy, no code here. But because even if you don't end up programming yourself, which is absolutely fine, it's still widen your vision. It amplifies your vision and your ability to understand the reality, I think. So like, do a programming course, like you have a lot of them. For me, I started back in the day in C, C++, and then my go-to language for a lot of years has been Perl, which nobody knows now, but Perl was actually a good programming language. The only thing was that it used common graphing interfaces, CGI, for the web, and that was awful. So I then switched to PHP, and I basically learned by doing. So I did a lot, and then when I was younger, I was in the IRC chat a lot, in the official Perl channel, and I was fortunate because there were also people contributing to like the main code of Perl, and so they knew a lot about the language, and they helped me. But I never, I always hated doing the exercises, build a calculator type of stuff. I did that, and I always loved the socket side of things, so like the remote connection side of things, so like interfacing with websites and things like that. And yeah, when I was younger, I did a lot of damage there as well, with the all the things that you do when you are younger, so like error files, remote file inclusions, cross-site scripting, and stuff like that, and entering the school website and things like that. It was a lot of fun though. I was always curious about it, and I also think there is a correlation between music and code. But yeah, so that's what I advise people. And then obviously, if you can code and if you can market, you have a superpower, my friend, because you can merge the two, and you can basically, I don't want to say you are a god, but you can basically build a product and market. So like, and bring clients. It's an awesome position to be in. So yeah, I would start there. But the thing is also, once you know these things, this type of stuff, then you need to know yourself, which you do, I think, by coding, like by building. And so, for example, I discovered things about myself, uh, by building. So I discovered that I'm a starter. I'm not really a grower. So I like to start things. I don't like to grow them necessarily. Uh, I like data collection a lot. So all of my products are about around that idea. Um, so yeah, but you only know that if you do a lot of stuff. So you need to do, and that's the other thing. You need to do more than you like watch stuff or you consume stuff in a way, like because building for me is an act of um, loneliness. Like it's an act of isolation. It's like being a monk, and so yeah, you need to isolate yourself from the inputs because we have a lot of them, lot of inputs nowadays, and the pitfall could be learning just for the sake of, like, learning is the new entertainment in a way. And so like you need to isolate yourself from that and only learn if you actually have a need for the thing, and the rest of the time you just do.
First of all, I love this. This is just knowledge bombs. People are loving this. I want to tell you a few things from the chat. First of all, Rick,
Yeah,
thank you so much for watching. Rick is talking about, I agree, the less bosses, the better. So what you were saying before. And then also Keisha was talking about, this is encouraging to me. I used to be a drummer. so, so she loves this. And the question is, are you marketing for free or are you using paid ads to get the attention when you're building these SaaS products?
No, I don't do any paid advertising. So I usually do things that do not scale. So like program said, and that's actually a strategic move more than anything. Of course, not doing paid advertising helps with cash flow, which it is essential in a bootstrap business. But also helps because usually, by doing all myself, I have one competitive edge, which is I can be fast. And by being fast, it means that you can roll out and roll back features very fast, and that's a competitive edge against competitors, which are usually more have more resources than me in terms of money to spend, people, and they can acquire like the target market. I don't usually do that, and so I do things that they do not necessarily do. They don't necessarily do because they are too time consuming. Because for them it's like, okay, I can just run this ad and acquire 1,000 people. For me, it's like more commenting on posts and find alternative strategies where I can have I can have a channel that's all for me in a way. And sometimes you don't have to do marketing at all, especially if you do integration marketing. So like I build in two main ways. One is via negativa, so like by subtracting features from products. So I think that's very powerful because like the reasoning behind it is that we tend to go back to what we know and what we like the most. So for example, if you are a developer, if you encounter a marketing problem, you most likely reply with a dev solution, which means that, and that's true for me, which means that my products usually have lots of features. And so I subscribe to the job to be done framework, and I stress it a lot more. And I say that a user hires the product just to do one thing, and so I try to basically subtract all the other things that are not necessarily for the core of the product. And my question is where I can put this feature so that that feature becomes a core. And so, for example, this product that you're seeing now, used car, used to have a trend feature. And the core for cart is actually monitoring sales of Shopify stores. And so the trend feature, while it was good, it was not essential to it, because actually when you have a lot of features, you go basically your unique value proposition is not as strong as if you have just one feature. And so I took that feature, the trend tracking, and I put it in another context, which is now Trendly. And now the core of Trendly is actually discovering rising trends or monitoring trends. And now it can serve other markets. It can serve not only e-commerce, but it can serve investors, it can serve SEO people, and so on and so forth. So that's the first way that I build with. And the second way is actually integration marketing, which is what I was talking about, not doing marketing. And for integration marketing, like a lot of people think about marketplaces, because the primary example in integration marketing is, okay, you have an e-commerce app, you go integrate with Shopify, you go integrate with Magento, you go integrate with WooCommerce. Why? Because integration marketing is all about finding the win-win relationships between you and the other party, where all the parties involved are excited about promoting each other. So like when you go integrate, for example, Cart with Shopify, you do this thing, and Shopify has all the, like, it wants you because it wants to have the Shopify users on the Shopify ecosystems, so they don't want to go elsewhere. And also it wants you to use Shopify payments, not Stripe, all these things. And obviously you as a builder, you want to be on Shopify because obviously Shopify has all the clients that you want as merchants, So that's usually how it works. I don't do that necessarily, but I do another thing. I integrate, like I expand integration marketing with people. So I believe that you can do integration marketing with everyone that has an audience. So I do it with like course creators. I want to do it with podcast creators. Why? Because usually how it goes, like I buy a course, and then I try to come up with a SaaS solution for that course, and then I integrate with them. Meaning, they have all the advantages because obviously they want the additional revenue stream from the SaaS that you create for them, but also they want to help their students, with a particular problem. So that's why they want you, and you want them because you now have a monopoly over an acquisition channel, which is the students of the course, and it's actually far better than the other play, the marketplaces play, because it's far not likely that the course creator will go with another SaaS solution. So in a way, you have this privilege. You put a flag in there and say, this is my acquisition channel now. So yeah, that's the way that I do stuff.
Mike, before we go on, I would like to highlight, if you're watching this, hold on a second. We got to change positions for a second. If you're watching this in the chat, listen to what Mike just told you right there. I loved, and I want to repeat back to make sure I've got everything that you just said, Mike.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you are, first of all, already looking at something that you're interested. You're taking a course because you're interested in that facet. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then from there, you're already now having that entire acquisition channel by creating a solution for them. You're going to the creator and saying, hey, I've already taken this course. So you're not just blasting everyone. You're actually taking the course. You understand their problem. You understand what they need. And then you're offering that solution as a SaaS platform for that course creator. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay, so if you're looking at how to stand out, how to understand that pain point, think about what Mike just did. Are you
Yep.
taking the time to reverse? That's a beautiful strategy.
You can do it with, like, not necessarily with course creators. You can do it with like podcast hosts, for example. Anyone that has an audience, you can do this. I did it for, like, I have two SaaS in this that I built doing this. One, it's called Dialflow, and I built it for with Ryan Kulp, which is the ex-founder. It's the founder, now retired, of FOMO.com, and he has a course on micro acquisition. So like micro private equity right now is hot, and so he did that course back in the day. And I'm a huge fan of Ryan now. He's also my business partner on Dialflow, but I was a huge fan of him before, and so I bought the course with my own money and everything, and I liked it. And then we did Dialflow. I actually proposed Dialflow to Ryan, and we did it together. And so that's the first one that I did. If you want to go there, it's dialflow.microacquisitions.com.
You said it was
Dialflow. That's one that I did using this. So it's based on a course which is actually at microacquisitions.com about how to buy small businesses. And what Dialflow does is we gather all the data from the marketplaces like Flippa, now I forget, IndieMaker, Empire Flippers, and others. And we list everything in one view, so you can go there and see. I want to acquire a business that has, that does $1,000 in MRR. You can put 1,000 in there, and you have all the businesses, and we crawl them every day. And so it's pretty nice. And the other business that I did this with is actually a niche, but it's called the Fast Lien. You can see that one on the site as well. The URL is fastlane.co. Yes, the last one. And it's basically a tax lien and tax deed research software. And it's in the niche of tax liens. If you don't know, I'll try to explain it, but it's again, it's in the real estate niche. Basically, when in the US, if you don't pay your taxes, that the local county government puts a lien on your property, and then there are these investors that basically try to acquire the lien for an interest, right? Because usually you don't pay the tax on garbage, for example. They put a lien on you, and then you remember to pay, but now you have to pay what you should have paid plus an interest. And so you as an investor can take that lien and just wait for the the property owner to pay. If the property owner doesn't pay, then you can attack the property and do all the stuff. So that's the niche. And this was actually a course that was done in Italian from a Dutch guy, Italian Dutch guy, Emmanuel. And I took it, and then I did this with them. And basically what we do is, because the counties, like each county has a different website, which are very, like 1.0 would be a compliment, like they are very, very old. And so like we collect data from those sites in order to have all the data in one centralized place, and so our investors can go there and monitor their investments, but also research new properties that have liens on them.
That is, first of all, being in the U.S. and hearing about this is such a problem. My wife used to be in real estate. I used to work for a real estate company back in the day. What you're saying, it's a very niche problem, but it's so big. This is so big. For companies like this is such a good idea. And it's just a hot pain point for that industry. This is so interesting how specific and how deep you went into solving this right here.
I think like the more niche you go, the better generally.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. Real quick. People are
Right.
pouring in right here from all different channels. Hold on. Let's just do this real quick. Alexander, thank you so much for being here. Keisha, again, thank you so much for all the great comments. Kevin, I see you over there. CT, all the people on Twitch now coming in, thank you so much for watching. Remember, if you're just coming in and you're wondering what is going on, remember, we have Mike here, and what he's doing, he is showing you all of the different SaaS companies that he's running by himself, and he's bootstrapping. So if you're looking at all of these different ones that we're previewing, these are all the different SaaS platforms Mike is running. And with transparency, I just dropped in the chat again. If you're looking at Brain, at this site right here, this is showing you with transparent numbers what he's doing every month, annually, and it's showing the tasks that he's doing to run all of these software platforms. So when you're thinking about how can I create something that someone loves, can I become a full-time creator, Mike is giving you the recipe and breaking down exactly what he did. So think about what you could be doing, what you're thinking about to have a solution for your audience and what you can be doing. Alexander is saying amazing. So many things are right here. Keisha is saying, by the way, Mike, did you do this design as well too, or did you outsource the design of all of these things?
No, I do everything. I don't use frameworks, although I use a CSS framework called Bulma. Bulma.io is the site. I'll drop in the chat.
Thank you.
Bulma.io. And it's in the private chat that I dropped it.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. That's pretty much the only framework that I use. Yeah, I love it just because I'm not a good designer. But in terms of like code frameworks, like PHP framework, like Laravel or any other thing like that, I don't. I hate them because you end up taking a lot of things that you don't need, and so instead I just like to code myself and just bring what I need to the table.
Yeah. Oh, one last thing too, Mike, because there's a couple questions in here asking and I said I would bring this up, and I would love to hear your perspective on this. And I would like, I can go first, or you can go first. Someone was asking, Kevin was asking, is this done with no code? I mentioned in the comments, no, this is done with code.
Yes.
But you said this at the beginning. There were so many things that you can learn by coding if you decide to do it or not. The things that you're showing, a lot of these things to get started, to understand about getting the right marketing, having that integration, having that marketing, you can still do this with no-code platforms to an extent. Yeah. But think about what Mike is saying. He's giving you the special sauce, how he's thinking about marketing, which is the biggest part to see if this is
right.
A solution.
I think you can do a lot of stuff with no code, so like I don't hate it. But still, even if you end up using no code, I don't care really. But I'm just saying, if you do learn to code, even if you don't end up doing code, in your career at all, it still helps you in a big way. Like I would 100% learn to code, and just doing, just the basics, understanding, a for cycle, whatever it is, declaring variables, whatever it is, it amplifies your horizon, I think. So that's why I think, and also, come on, you in your career, I think you will end up working with a developer, so you don't want them to, to hide you things or stuff like that. Like you need to understand. You don't want to be their fool, basically. And yeah. So that's why I would do. But no code is cool. I mean, I do have a course where I teach scraping, and yeah, a lot of it is doing a lot is done with that, but also I try to teach with no code as well. Using Luminati collectors or Zapier stuff. So you can do stuff like the first thing is this: I don't like. I'm very wary of people who tells you like this is the way and there's only one way. No, it's like life is a thousand ways. You can have it like you want, like so like you can do whatever you want. Basically, that's what I'm saying. My view is like I'm here saying what I say because I'm here and I bring my point of view, but it's not the truth. Like you can have it like you want.
Yeah, no, I love that. And you know what I would like to say too, Mike, there's two things I really liked about that, because that's true. Even if you're working on a no code project, if you're going to need to upgrade or do something with code, you want to actually have the critical thinking to be able to talk to the developer. And so you guys can be on the same page. So even if you understand the concept or understand what's going on with database, understanding APIs, or even in that low code or any structure into talking to a developer, it's still beneficial for you. I love how you were saying that way the developer can't tell you something and you're like, don't know. All right, yeah, go ahead and do that. and that could be the wrong thing.
I think it's great. Actually, Ryan cool as a course called how to talk to developers or something like that, and cool. It's not affiliated with me in any ways, but I actually bought 2 copies just the other day and gifted it to basically one people that helps with Fastlane and my assistant, and I just gifted them that course because like I want you to be able to speak with me, and so there's that. The other thing, maybe you can show the latest one that is not even listed on my site. It's called Poda.io.
Could you put that in the private chat?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
then we have one person in the chat wanted to talk about Grouply later, but we got you. We'll go to yours first. Yeah, but
I dropped it in the chat.
Thank you.
Just a thing that I've built I think yesterday in like 5 hours. My process is very like I take an idea, I build it, and then in the next week I usually launch it, and then if the idea doesn't make money, then I drop it. Simple. And so Poda is basically allowing you to search podcasts by guest. It's very beta. I just got it yesterday, so bear with me. But
wow.
You can search like any people that you want in there, any person, and it will show you where they appeared as a guest. And then my plan with this, I can actually.
Did you do this just by scraping?
Yeah, I do scraping. I scrape everything, so that's my thing. Yeah. So basically, the idea with this, like I did this idea because I actually found it in kernel. Do you know kernel?
No.
Kern.al. Kernel. It's like product hunt for ideas.
I love it.
It's the tagline. And I found this idea about creating a SaaS that would allow you to search podcasts by guest, because sometimes you find
I have seen this. Sorry, I remember the logo.
Yeah.
But
sometimes the feeling you are listening to a podcast and you like the guest, but you want to listen more of the guest, but you don't know where to search, because in the podcast players, if you type it's impossible to search by podcast. So that by episodes. So it's difficult, and so I built this. And my plan with it is basically my plan to money. My path to money is long term with SEO. So being there for long tail keywords for guest appearances. By from minor personalities. Obviously, if you go Sean Puri podcast, for example, it will be difficult to rank there. But minor guests like me or like you, if we put Mike Rubini podcast, maybe I would like to be there. So that's the first thing. Then the other thing is pretty much creating profiles for the top 15, 20,000 Twitter profiles in
Mm-hmm.
there. So that's the other thing, rank for those, and then launch it on like after news and product hunt later. Because now I want to do something with product hunt when I want to actually own it for a day.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
like, if you know, like all the sites where you have like listings, like product hunt or even like Google, they operate like with a space perspective. So like the more space you take, the best for you. Like you can take you take more space, so you have more eyeballs in a way, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
because I built 10 things uh, and that I didn't launch on product hunt, I would like to launch them all in the same day, so I can take all the spots. That's the that's the idea. I don't know if it's feasible. Like it will be pretty much difficult, but I will try.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's what at first when I first saw this, I was like, oh man, the what made me think of that. I was thinking about Matchmaker,
Yeah.
.fm, but I was like, you know what? It has different nuances, which I'm like, I would use this more than Matchmaker because Matchmaker, I'm always like, I'm getting hit up, I'm on doing all this stuff, but I'm like, you know what? I this is a very nuanced. I like the progression what you were saying because a lot of times I am always asking about this. I'm like, because I don't want to. I don't think I'm lazy, but I feel like I just don't know how to find all of those things or how to track it
I
down.
think I think Matchmaker or other like I don't know Podchaser or other, they actually
Yeah.
like I have two ways to monetize this. One is not working right now, but basically my initial idea was searching is free, so you can search anything free, and then subscribing to guests is paid. So like if you want to subscribe to Sahil, when Sahil
Mm-hmm.
appears on your podcast, then you can subscribe to the updates and you will receive an email alert when Sahil is on a new podcast as a guest. And that is paid, is $9 a month. That is not working. I just soft launched it, so it's not really a test, but the way that I see it, like from experience, I can tell that it's not working. So the other thing I think that would potentially bring this to market is selling data to the hosts. So like services like Matchmaker or Podchaser or any other thing should use my data. So it's selling the data to them because I obviously have a lot of data on guests and all of that. And then also the other thing I wanted to do was like a host no sorry a guest feed. So like you could subscribe even if you don't have a podcast. For example, let's say I have, but let's say I don't have a podcast. You could make a podcast out of your guest appearances, right? So it's just that. It's just a feed with all the appearances. And then finally, if it doesn't work, I might just make it free and use it for lead generation, because that's the other big realization that I had by looking at Brain, the other platform that you should, because it looks at the business with like a bigger picture. And I realized that I can reach almost 15,000 people, and even like having a free sign up is a good thing because it's a contact that then you can monetize, for example, via newsletter, via running ads on the newsletter, things like that. And so I might make Poda free and use it for lead generation for another podcast project that I have in mind. Because I think the problem with podcasts is that like you subscribe to a lot of them and you can lose touch with episodes and stuff. So I want to find a way to summarize them. It's very difficult technically because I don't think the technology is there yet. But basically, I was experimenting in my brain with basically weight, how do you say, weighting entities, and also GPT-3 to summarize podcast. And yeah, so basically distill podcast. That's the other idea broadly. But yeah, that's basically how I work basically.
Well, first of all, I'd just like to say, Mike, thank you very much as you're talking this out. I think this is crucial as you're just musing and talking about this. This is great for the chat. It's great for me to hear it because you're explaining your process. This is gold. this is gold right here. So thank you very much for this process and in talking about, and you're showing us a new project. So you're talking about your critical thinking to get to here. What I would like to say, because we have some questions, but also too, keep in mind, chat, do you notice what Mike is doing? He's not just talking about it, he's executing and trying these things out. So remember, take action. Mike is a great example. You see his body of work. Take action, test, and just like at the beginning, if you came in late, he was talking about making sure that you're limiting how much you're taking in and just go out and start building and doing. Really good points. Mike, you got some questions. People are saying this is phenomenal. This is wonderful. We have a few questions. Number one, CT is talking about, I assume that you have to deal with APIs. So the first question is, what is the best place to learn about APIs from scratch? What are your suggestions, Mike?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, API just means making a get or a post call to a site. So it's very easy to do. You can actually do a call, even no code, like with tools like Zapier or things like that. So it's very easy. So I don't know where you should start. It's like, core, CRL. You just make a call and that's it. I'm not using a lot of APIs because that's basically, if an API is public, I assume that's what my competitor use, or my competitor have access to, or my future competitor can access. So I really like to scrape and collect data like that, because that's, you put your own spin out of something basically, and so that's more proprietary in a way. And so I like that. Or otherwise, I like to use not public, private APIs. And you do that by reverse engineering apps and things like that.
That's awesome. There's a couple things. And Mike, thank you very much. First of all, I'm going to be dropping in the chat. If you're looking to get his course, we're going to be dropping this in the chat right now. I'm going to be buying it later today. So I suggest everyone get this. For me personally, I struggled with how to use APIs and I didn't know what that even meant. Exactly what Mike was just saying. It's a call. It's if you use Google, you have called, you have done that. So there is a section of what an API is, and then also how to use it, either if you're using a no-code platform, and then also there is a breakdown how to use it in Integromat and Zapier, all of those things. Zapier. I'm going to drop that in the chat as well, and I'm going to drop Mike's course right now in the chat as well to look into scraping and everything like that.
Thank you, Doc.
Oh, of course, not a problem. No, it's I can't wait. I can't wait to see this course. This is
yeah,
good
let me know
stuff.
what you think. I'm always here, and the beauty of the course, obviously, in pure bootstrapping fashion, I sold it before I made it, right? So I pre-sold it, and then now it has a lot of videos, etc. And the thing about it is that I'm always adding new lessons from the feedback that I receive from the students, which I think is important, even in SaaS or anything that you do is important to have feedback, because you want good feedback loops. And so, for example, for the course, obviously we have chat, we have email. I send a personalized email to everyone that buys. Um, but also in the SaaS, for example, I always have a way for people, for users to leave me what I call micro feedback. So usually at the end of a, let's say a table, usually in the bottom left, there is a question. And the question is, are these insights helpful? Because I sell insights, basically I sell data. And then there is a yes or no. And if you type no, it goes to a feedback form, which you can leave feedback, even anonymously, because I'd like to prompt people to give me feedback, because that's what I value. But also, if you click yes, then you go to the testimonial page. So yeah, that's how you collect feedback. And generally, you can act on feedback even if you don't have users, even if you don't have a product, by collecting microdata. I have a good blog post on that if you want. If you go rubini.link/microdata, I will drop the link in the chat. Sorry.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you.
And it's a cool blog post. It's more in detail, but basically the idea is that your target market leaves clues around the internet. So even if you don't have the product yet, you can collect these clues and learn a lot about your target market and infer product insights and marketing insights. So for example, in the blog post, I go through the example of Trendly, how I built it using microdata. And one thing that I did is collecting all of this microdata from like competitor launches. So I would go on product, I would go on comments, below ads, Facebook ads. I would go to forums and literally collect this in a swipe file. And then I would see like patterns. So for example, all of these people would say, this is cool as a newsletter, but I would like a tool. And then even like it can help you psychologically, because for example, one person was saying, is there a pro version of this? And this was a competitor where I can manage my keywords, etc. And instantly seeing that they say pro means that they value a tool more than a newsletter, more than like my competitors with Trendly are mostly newsletter communities, not SaaS tools.
Mm-hmm.
So like I instantly know that. Then you have pricing information, people saying, hey, $39 a month is a lot. I don't want to spend as much for tracking trends. So you know that your foot in the door offer can't be $39. It might be lower than that. But also marketing trends, because I think like 80% of the words that you see on Trendly are not mine, are from the target market. So like you just copy with that, and also helps because like I'm not like I like to think that I'm fluent with English, but I'm not. English is not my primary language. Italian is. So like it helps with that too, because you can just use the words of people that are English speaking. And then with marketing angles, like I read this comment, for example, about how if you are Amazon, obviously you know the trends of everybody because you have the data of everybody. But if you are like a small business, e-commerce business, you don't know because it just has to do with luck, etc. So I did this marketing angle, which I called David versus Goliath, and basically I said, Trendly is your sling, right? It's basically David, and Amazon is Goliath. And so yeah, you come up with all kind of ideas, collecting microdata, and you can do so even if you don't have the product built yet.
I love it. I love it. This is so insightful. Chat, I'm just letting you know, this is gold. If you're looking for something, you're looking at a professional that is doing this constantly in so many different genres and so many different niches. Take the time. Maybe if you can't listen to this whole thing because it's close to an hour, take the time to review back and then start thinking about how you can do this. I love this so much. Thank you so much, Mike. A few things in the chat. They said, don't forget, Alexander, I did not forget about you. You are here and you are heard. Alexander wants to know about, could you talk a little bit about Grouply?
Yes.
talk about how you, and Alexander, if you have a very specific question about it, please let us know in the chat. But could you talk about how this came about, maybe, Mike? And,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll go
Yeah.
from there.
So Grouply is born out of my own need. And basically, I have a lot of SaaS. So like I also market them on Facebook groups because I like, as I said, things that do not scale. And the problem was like when you go on Facebook groups and you post something, it is often perceived as self-promotional spam. Basically, it's an issue, right? Whereas if you go and comment on an existing conversation and you add value and then you link to your stuff, then it's perceived as value. So I thought to myself that I would like to create something that would monitor Facebook groups for relevant conversation that I could join. And yeah, so I did that. Basically, Grouply tracks keywords on Facebook groups. You can monitor private and open groups, and basically you come out, you say the keywords and the groups that you want to monitor, and we set it up for you. And then you receive an email notification or a Slack notification whenever there's a relevant conversation for you to join. Obviously, is useful for two use cases mainly. One is reputation management, so it's used by brands like SnapAV or even like SEMrush, which you might know, to monitor their reputation online in Facebook groups. But also the other use case is lead generation, so it's used by, for example, roofers or all the local mom and pop businesses that can track leads. So
very interesting. Very interesting. Alexander is saying in the chat, from the numbers from Brain, it looks like is Grouply the most. Those are where most of your users are for your SaaS platforms, or I don't know. That's what he's saying. I haven't looked at the numbers. What is he saying?
In terms of users, Grouply it's like the least number of users because it's paid $500 or more per month. We have so it's actually the least number of users and the maximum ROI, which I don't think is by like it's on purpose. So right now is the project that is making the most, but I think the other are as good as well. The thing is, I'm very risk averse, so like I try to do projects. I try to do different things. So I have the SaaS, I have the consulting business, I have the course, which in itself is very risk averse. But also in the SaaS space, I have SaaS that, for example, have cost $9 to $50. I have SaaS that are free, SaaS that are $9 to $50 in price point, and SaaS like Grouply that are $500 or more per month. And the reason with that is that it's like dilution of risk, like dilution of risk. So it's like basically all about being risk averse, which means like usually the SaaS with the lower ticket will have more users, but each user will be less revenue, and the high ticket will be vice versa. It will be the contrary. And the thing with that is that if you lose a customer with a business where that is low ticket, you don't lose much revenue, and instead if you lose a customer with an high ticket SaaS, you lose a lot of revenue. But again, it's all about being risk averse because basically it's difficult for me to die from month to month. Basically, in June, I know that even if I don't work on my businesses, which is never the case, but let's say I'm in hospital or something, let me do this. Revenue would be maybe a little lower or the same, basically.
Yeah, that's really true. It makes a lot of sense. So There's a couple things. We have a couple other follow-up questions. By the way, thank you so much for your time. We're going to be wrapping up. And remember, this is good. Thank you. Get your comments in now. By the way, there's a couple of things too. If you have more questions and it's like, hey, I can't stay. Remember, that's why we have the Discord link down below, because if you have questions, you can always ask in the Discord group. We're always answering questions. So make sure you have that. And it gives you all the updates when we go live too, to make sure that you get to know when all the speakers are. It has all those things. Make sure that's going to be in the Discord. It's down below as well. Just a few more questions, Mike. The questions regarding okay, trigger beats. If you want to know how much generating per month, remember there's going to be a link down below where you can actually see all of Mike's all the things that he has right there. So if you look at it right here, it will break down per SaaS down there, so you can check all that. Alexander has another question. He was talking about they are talking about, was it hard to deal with payment systems handling monthly charges? I find it scary and have avoided learning much about Stripe and PayPal APIs. That was the question.
It's not like Stripe is. PayPal is a nightmare. Stripe is very easy to implement. Like they have APIs, so they also have like self-hosted, not self-hosted, but hosted tools that I use that make my life easier. So they have, for example, lately they've been issuing a customer portal that you can basically link to, and then the customer can like add a card, remove a card, subscribe to another package, whatever. It's very easy. In terms of like monthly payments per se, no, I think it's very cool. Like sometimes I'd like to get the yearly option for my SaaS, but I don't do it because I wanted to keep it honest. And I think SaaS is a very honest business, because like if you keep providing value, people stay with you. If you don't, people usually cancel, and they can do that month to month. So I generally don't do contracts. I don't do yearly. I even don't offer the yearly package, and I just offer the month to month for that exact reason. Probably leaving some money to the table, but that's what I like. Like I like to have an honest business.
I love it. Really good questions and excellent answers, Mike. Really.
Yeah, the thing is, like with transparency, as I said, like it's a double-edged sword, because a lot of people try to copy you. Like I had someone trying to copy Grouply, for example, recently, and the thing, like copying Grouply per se is not as a big thing, because like it's difficult. I know that your product like won't work. That's also why like mine is maybe the only one that works, because you need to have a lot of like experience, and keeping up with Facebook changes is very tough. But yeah, the thing that that I was upset about was that this person made basically a comparison page, like you would do like Grouply versus their thing, and the comparison page was all about me as a person, which is
oh my god.
Yeah, it was like Mike is is the only developer in this business. Why would you go to a business that only has one developer? It has no service level agreements, and then I'm sure he is not fast enough to support you, and things like that. Crazy. And obviously, like they ended up dead in like a month, because that's how it goes. But I was upset about that, because you don't.
It's still annoying.
Yeah, like you don't take up anyone personally. Like you can say things about business, okay, but not about me. Come on. And by the way, it's not true. Like I'm very fast. Like you have to be fast when you have a lot of things.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh man, this is good insights, guys. This is really good insights. What you're going to be facing. This is good. Also to
Sorry to interrupt, but I think the most difficult part is the people. Like I'm not good with people. That's why also why I don't have a team. Recently, I hired a personal assistant because like I'm very biased with people. So like my reasoning was basically hiring a personal assistant so I could be basically a super version of myself and do even more, which I don't think is the right path, but I'm going to experiment because historically what I did is, well, I delegate a lot to machines. And so historically, like even before I did the SaaS, I had two marketing agencies. And historically, I did one-on-one delegation. So it was like, it sounds bad, but it's like treating humans like machines. That's what it was. So it was like take one job, like open the browser at this address and give it to one person. So that was one-on-one, and it was easier for me to like track all the different processes and stuff like that. But I don't know what the future looks like in terms of that. But for sure, like the people, is the most difficult part of the job, I think.
Yeah, yeah, very true, very true. No, this has been excellent. I think there's just so much. I really do appreciate you, Mike, showing insight, the transparency, everything, everything. As we're finishing up, where could the good people find you? Should they go to your blog? Should they find you on Twitter? Where would you like people to follow up with you or track what you're doing?
Yeah, if you want to follow me on Twitter, and I'm at Mike Rubini. I'm pretty active there, so you will basically get all of my stuff, all of my projects and shit like that.
Awesome. Okay, I got you right here. We're gonna put it in the chat. We do this in the chat, put this in a couple places. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Twitch, thank you so much. Oh, one last question that I was thinking about. Okay, so you're doing this and you're a musician. What has that done for your freedom in what you're able to do now with your more free time with music? Are you being able to pick the projects that you like more? What does that now allow you to do with your music aspirations?
Yeah, so I was actually I was first of all, I got into this space. I didn't want in the first place because basically my history is like I play music since I was 4. I graduated at the conservatory here in Italy at 18, and then I got a scholarship to go study jazz in the US at the New School for Jazz and Contemporary Music in New York, which was a dream for me. Like at that point, I was dreaming, because I just like jazz so much, and it's basically like music is all my life. And then I got there, and then I saw how basically great musicians were playing for literally a pizza, and how the teaching, like the school system is basically an industry that also tries to make money on you and all of that. And so I told myself I need to do something, and then I started with the agencies that I had. So I didn't want to do this, and I'm doing this just to basically protect my art in a way. So what allows me to do is just doing the things that I want, play less of the gigs that I don't like. So I was also for example, I don't do weddings, for example, because I don't like that. I was a school teacher, I don't know how it is in the US, but here when you have a school teaching jobs, you're pretty much set, like it's for life, and it's paid by the government, so it's like a secure, steady job. And I resigned from that. I got in the first year, and I took sabbatical, not paid sabbatical, non-paid sabbatical. And then the following year I resigned. So I didn't do the job ever. But it just like a lot of it is like compromising on your music, which I don't really like, because I've been studying and doing it since a long for the longest time, and I wouldn't want to compromise on it, because it makes you sad, like that you need to go to, at least for me, that you need to go to a school and say to the kids, hey, don't punch the other kid in the face, and it's everything but music, basically, that you do. And then the other thing is, a lot of people are, I don't know the word in English, but it's like you clearly don't want to do this, but you make it feel okay, and then they say, oh no, school is my life. Or even when you clearly, because like if you go to any musician, say, like, would you like to play for life and do the gigs and do a concert and I don't know, the Carnegie Hall or something, or do school teaching? I guess that a very low percentage would say, I would like to go teach.
Yeah.
So like it's a little bit I don't know, hypocrisy. I don't know. But
I
yeah,
got you.
so that's the feeling there. It's like, for me, especially, like I see a lot of kids, like a lot of teenagers that are 18 years school finished at about about 18 years old, that they all go to do the same thing. Like they either go to like medical school or they go to like law school, and I'm like, it's okay. Like if that's what you want to do, okay. But if you don't know what you want and you want to do the other thing that doesn't pay well, why you are not doing it? Like for me, everyone should do the thing that he or she wants to do, like that he or she likes, whatever. Like so for me, it was music, and I did that. I risked it. You sometimes you don't know how to make you can earn a living from doing that, but you find ways. So yeah, I appreciate that. I don't appreciate people who don't risk, basically.
No, Mike, I think this is a great story. So many people can relate to this. They're going to draw inspiration from what you're doing. This has been an awesome episode. And by the way, Alexander, thank you so much for the super chat.
Super chat.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for everyone from watching. This has been great. If you like this type of material, remember, follow Mike. Check out everything he's doing. We already dropped the links down below for his courses. Again, thank you for your time. Mike, don't go anywhere. But everyone else, we're gonna be signing off. And again, thank you so much, and see you guys next time.
Thank you, Doc, for having me. Thank you, everybody.